Alright, I guarantee you guys that this is going to be the easiest project you've ever ran into on my channel. So, stay tuned. So these are all the supplies you're going to need. I'm going to put them in the description box below so that you know what you need for this project. Once you cut out your circles, what you're going to do first is punch out a hole for your eyelet. So we're going to do this before we put the fabric on it. So I use cardboard for this particular project because I found that wood would be way too heavy for an average person's ears. So I think cardboard would be perfect. Wait, did you guys have a chance to subscribe yet? Now would be a perfect time to subscribe. And also, if you'd like to, you can hit that bell notification so that you can get the notifications to let you know I have a new video. Otherwise, you'll miss some stuff. If you do that, I will highly appreciate it. Next, you're going to cut out your fabric. I prefer getting fabric that actually lets you know that this is the front side and then the back of it is just white and plain so that you know which part you're going to be using. So all I'm doing is just cutting it out a little bit larger than a circle. Now that you cut out both pieces, which 2 pieces per circle, which is the back and the front, once you cut those out, go and grab some gloves. Now we're going to be using our spray adhesive to connect both pieces, the front and the back, to the circles. For this part, just a tip. I like to spray not the fabric itself, but I want to spray the item that I'm actually trying to cover. So in this case, I'm spraying the cardboard part and then I'm going to lay it down onto the fabric. Using your little scraper thing, it doesn't matter what you use, just make sure you're getting all the lumps and wrinkles out. Once you got out your bumps and wrinkles, then you're going to lay them out to dry or hang them up to dry. So now our circles are dry, and now at this point what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to locate the hole that I made earlier in the cardboard. You can either feel for it. In this case I did. That didn't work for me, so I ended up holding it up so I can actually look and use the light to find the hole. And once I locate it, I'm going to use my X-Acto knife and I'm going to start poking the hole through the fabric. Pick whichever side you want as the front of the earring, and then you're just going to take your eyelet and poke it through there. The goal is to have the fabric not be over top of the eyelet. So I'm using my X-Acto knife to like pry the metal through so that the metal is exposed. That's what you want, and that's your goal. Now at this point it looks like I have some of the metal poking through, but I'm going to work on it a little bit more. Don't know if you've ever used an eyelet tool before, but I use them all the time. And it's really easy. All you're doing is just clamping it down so that the back of the eyelet is bending over a little bit, and then it stays in place inside your cardboard with your fabric underneath it. And this is what it should start to look like. You can see the outline of your cardboard, so that means you did a good job and there's no lumps and bumps. Now I'm going to use some matching or contrasting color of embroidery thread, and I'm going to cut out a nice little length because I'm going to sew around the edges. So I use embroidery thread because it's thicker than the average thread that you find at Joann's, and the color combinations are pretty awesome. So in my case, I actually took the embroidery thread and I actually have some pieces on that thing on that little spindle that are 6 strands, so I ended up cutting them down or splitting them down to 3. So I split them in half so it's not too thick. So the stitch that I'm using here is a back stitch. The back stitch is more secure and it's a little bit neater looking than using, say, like a running stitch, which just weaving your needle in and out of your fabric. It's not going to be very secure. So basically you just pull up a stitch ahead of the other one, the last stitch that you did, and then you're just going to poke it through. You just basically, that's why they call it a back stitch, because you're going backwards. You're going forward here, and then you're going to pull the thread through, and then you're going to put the stitch in the back thread. Does that make any sense? I don't know. Anyway, I got a knot, but basically I'm just pulling it through ahead, as you can see there, and now I'm going to poke the thread through, working it backwards. I think I'm making it more complicated. Just look up a back stitch, just Google it. And so as you can see, the back stitch is looking pretty neat. To finish off your back stitch, all you're going to do, you should have a little space left there. You're just going to go ahead as you've been doing the whole time, and you're going to go back, and then you should have the whole stitch complete, and there's no spaces except for in between the stitches. And there you go. Just tie it in a knot and you're ready to go. And as you can see, these are a different earring because of the fact that I forgot to turn on the camera. I just had a flow. Then I was like, wait a minute, people are supposed to be watching me here. I gotta press record. Then I was like, oh well, I guess I just have to make another pair of earrings to show you guys what you missed. So this is what the back looks like, and then this is what the front should look like, and you can see the stitch much better. So now our next step is to grab our pair of scissors. Now this is the part where you have to be careful, but then not too careful. What I did was I'm trying to cut as close to the stitches as possible without cutting the stitches. It's up to you how you want to do this, but I just freehand went along with it and just looked as I cut, and I tried to get the cuts as close to the stitches as possible. So there you go. These earrings are like, I think these are the easiest earrings I've ever done. It was so simple, and it only took like a few minutes for it to dry. You didn't have to wait all day in order to wait for them to dry. And to cut it wasn't that bad. So there you go. So I put a link at the top of the page here that links to my video that shows you how to make your earring wire, or you can just attach a jump ring and some regular earring wire, whatever you think is easier for you, so you can have your nice cute little earrings to rock. Even if it is wintertime, you can make it look like summertime. Okay, bye you guys.